Okay, I'm ready to present.
Okay, good. Interesting. All right, I can go.
So I start. Okay, thanks a lot. So I'm here to present Project 6 of Open Classrooms International of building a turn-based board game in JavaScript.
Mm-hmm.
So I will start with the requirements of the project, whereby I was supposed to create a turn-based gaming gaming app whereby a web-based gaming app whereby two players are playing at turns, and the steps I took was first to generate the map,
Mm-hmm.
whereby you start randomly by generating the game map, whereby each box can be either be empty or unavailable. On the map, a limited number of weapons will be placed randomly and can be collected by players who pass through. Another instruction was you should invent at least four types of weapons in the game, each with different damage inflicted. And I was not supposed to worry about the violence of the weapon.
Right.
So when you go to my VS Code,
Mm-hmm.
so first I created a folder called Project 6, which has four folders. One for CSS, which is for styling,
Yep.
the IMG, which connects all the images, which has the obstacles, players, weapons, and all the images required for the app, and JavaScript files for the functionality of the app, that is and the main file to create the game.js file, which contains all the logic about the game. Huh?
Right.
So let's start for the first part of generating the map. So if you come to my files, in my game.js files, so you can see the first lines of the code.
Mm-hmm.
This is where I initialize my because this is where I created the start screen, whereby there's a wrapper, there's a wrapper, there's also games.selection section, there's also you can also show the game is over, and also there is the start button. So when you open this particular code, which I've opened in this particular, so when you refresh, huh,
Mm-hmm.
this is the UI. You can
Right.
see this the when you open the link, you can see the two fighters, the two players who will play in a turn-based way. So
Right.
when you start the game, let's say for example, say maybe player one, player two, and you submit. So when you come here, so you generate the game map, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Which and this is the map of the game. This is the map of the game. Sorry, just a second. This is the map of the game, whereby it has the weapons. You can see the weapons are placed everywhere in the game. For example, I used four types of weapons. I used a gun.
Mm-hmm.
I used a gun. I want to show you all the weapons. Yeah. So you can see I have an arrow as a weapon. I have a gun. I have a knife, and I have a spear, and I have a sword. So I used five. Sorry, so I used five.
That's okay.
Yeah. So because as per the instruction, you have to use more than not less than four.
Yep.
So you can see all of them are placed in the game map. Because this is the gun, this is the arrow, this is the sword,
Mm-hmm.
and also you can see there's a knife here, and also the sword here.
Yes.
So another thing about this game, So we have fulfilled this requirement of at least 4 types of weapons in the game,
Mm-hmm.
and which with different damage inflicted. So when you go to, if you count a cupcake as a weapon, that's cool. The default weapon must inflict 10 points of damage. So when you come to this particular game, you can see the damage has been placed to 10.
Yep.
Okay, the placement of the two players is also randomly on the map when the game loads. And they should not touch, they can not be together. So as per this particular game, you can see the players will not be together. When you start the game, one of the players is here and the other one is here. When you refresh this game again, and maybe start, let's try to start, let's say 1, 2. So anytime you start, one player is this side, the other one is this side.
Mm-hmm.
So they are not in the same side, and also they are placed randomly. So that is the first step of generating the map, which I did.
Right.
The second step was to do the movements. So for each turn, a player can move from 1 to 3 boxes, either horizontally or vertically,
Mm-hmm.
before ending their turn. They obviously cannot pass through obstacles differently. So when you can see this particular game, I also initialized the obstacles constructor. For example, when you go to obstacles.js, you can see there's an obstacle which has a name and a type. When you go to the game.js, when you search for the obstacles. So you can see I created an obstacle when you
Mm-hmm.
initialize the game. This is the functionality for for placing the obstacles on the game board.
Yep.
This is the function which I used. And in this particular case, I used a pyramid, to be more specific, which is blue in color,
Mm-hmm.
because I placed it as an image here. See this particular point? This is
Yeah.
the obstacle. This is it. And when you come to this particular game, you can see it here.
Yeah.
These are the obstacles. Yeah. So so for each player can move from 1 to 3 boxes. So when you start this particular game, let's refresh, let's start. Sorry, 1, 2, submit. So the player can move three steps, and you know it is turn based. So when player one plays, then it's the turn for player two to play, and he or she can as well move to
Right.
up to a maximum of 3 spaces.
Right.
So when it comes to the when the player two plays, now it is the turn for the player one to play. You can also only move a maximum of 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was the step 2, which was done. And you can see if a player passes over a box containing a weapon, they leave their current weapon on site and replace it with the new one. Okay, so the next step you can see about the fight. So if a player crosses over adjacent squares horizontally or vertically, a battle begins. During combat, the game works is as follows. Each player in turn, these I've already shown you how it is in turn. So if this player plays, this is the next time for this player to play.
Mm-hmm.
And when like, so for example, you saw I moved several squares, so you can see now it is time for it changes to a time of this player, particular player to attack because there are no particular squares to move on. So it is only time to attack now. So when, for example, this player attacks, this one as well attacks,
Right.
attacks.
Yeah.
If this one defends, this one attacks, then player two has won, and this one has lost.
Yep.
So I think that is more about the presentation. That is more about the UI. These are the weapons I used. These are the GS files I had, but this is the main file which has the whole functionality of the game.
Right.
These are the variables which are used for the game because I've used the grid, that is the x and y axis for the squares. The obstacles, those are the pyramids, and I've given a maximum of 10 to be placed in the game board,
Mm-hmm.
and the maximum field to move is 3. That's why when you come to this particular point of moving, this player can only move to a maximum of 3. This one also can either move vertically to a maximum of 3, vertically to a maximum of 3, either horizontally to a maximum of 3. So like when he comes here, you can pick this one. Now he has picked the player has picked a gun.
Yep.
Yeah, sure. So that is it. That is it for the presentation.
Okay. All right. Um.
Yes.
All right. So that's it. It looks like it certainly looks like it's working. Uh, the perhaps to just look at the code at um, at the player placement at the start of the game. I just wanted to see because I noticed the behaviour of player two was always in that top right hand corner. I was wondering if that was anything something I didn't notice before, um, or is it that some was that just random? So if we look at the player placement, create players, it'd be good to look at that one. The create players method or function.
Come again.
Yeah, if we look at the create players function, just go
Okay.
through that and
Create players.
yeah, and if you just want
Yeah.
to just go through that particular bit of code and explain how it works, that would be good. And your thinking behind the design, and so I'm just randomly selecting some code we can go into detail about. You can talk about how you developed it and why you decided to design it the way you did. Does that make sense? So anyway,
I'm kindly requesting you.
if we go to the code of the actual
Yeah.
function, create
Yeah.
players, if you could, we could just
Yeah.
walk through that particular part of the code. Create
We
players.
remove it.
No. We just want to look at it. So create. Let's look at the create players. No, we don't want to move it at all. We want to look at it.
Oh,
So
okay.
just to view it. Yeah, so if you just walk me through it. Create players. Yep. Good.
This is it.
All right. So new player. Oh, okay. So it calls creates the new player and then the place item. Okay, so it calls place item. I like how it's you've you've designed your code to be able to be reusable code. You know, instead of place item player one, place item player two, you've generalized that place item. So next we look at place item. So it's just down below. So we look at that one. Okay, okay. So that's really good. So what was the thinking behind your design? Have you done some programming before in the past?
Yes, yes, I've done some programming before,
In
basically on Java,
JavaScript and what else?
JavaScript and basics of React.
Okay,
I've not done much of that, but just basics, yeah.
right. Okay, so yeah, so you've got a good feel for reusable code and generalized functions, which is a good idea. It's obvious in your design there, that's good. Um,
Yeah.
so place, and if you just take me through the place item code, just your thinking when you were designing it, and any problems you had trying to get it to work. Oops.
The the problems I had.
Yeah.
So okay, the major challenge when I was designing this particular code is first was ensuring that this turn-based functionality, whereby if player one plays and then it allows the other player two to play, and then also the issue of damage,
Right.
because most of the time we find that when I'm playing this particular when a kid or a player is playing this particular game, the person who defends first
Mm-hmm.
is the most probably to win the game.
Okay.
The one who defends first, if you keep on attacking without defending, the chances of you losing the game are much higher than the person who just defends maybe once or twice and then attacks.
Mm-hmm.
So that was one of the main functionality which gave me some headache when I was trying to crack the code.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. And what about with the place item function, uh, calculating, figuring out how to make sure you're not placing items off the grid?
This particular point,
Yeah.
this was not very much challenging because I remember very well in the last project of the generating a quote generator, I also did I also did something to do with random math.random and math.flow. So
Yep.
a few I had a few knowledge about it because when you come here, for instance, let me just a second, I take you through that particular project.
Oh no, yeah, there's no need to do that. No.
You can see I did something similar here
Yeah.
with mass flow and mass.random. So at this particular point, it was a matter of just playing with the x and y axis,
Right. Okay. Yeah.
just ensuring that I get three squares on the vertical and three squares horizontal, as long as there's a space above there in
Yep.
the game board. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Okay. So if we just go back. I just got one last comment to make, and I'm happy
Yeah.
to oh, two last comments or questions. If we go back to we go back actually to the game board itself. Um,
The game itself. Huh?
yeah. Just a quick question.
My machine has amped, but just a second.
Oh,
So I can close this one. This is the game itself.
right. Okay. So did you use the JavaScript console for during the debugging? I just wanted to make sure if you want to, if you could just bring up the inspect tool, right click on the browser window and inspect. Choose inspect so the, dev tool, yep, and bring up the console. All right, so there's errors there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's important that you don't have errors. Yeah.
I'll check on this. Check
Yeah.
on this. I think I did. I didn't check on this. Sure.
Yeah.
So
So it's good to make sure when you're developing to have that console open, so you can pick up any errors as you going along. Yeah. So that's just I don't expect you to debug it now, but what you can
yeah.
do is you, you've got 48 hours to make some changes and make sure that there are any bugs and make sure that there may be a couple of others. So we'll leave that. Yeah, and just upload it again and let me know. Send me an email or something. I'll check it and then I'll write up the validation because I'm pretty sure you should be able to fix that bug pretty quickly. Um, the other comment I have to make is that if we go to the code itself, uh, you've structured it as classes where you have the objects and where you have a number of
Yes.
classes, and you have
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
data, and then you instantiate the objects. But there's no methods with a lot of these. All the methods are in one of the files in the game object. So some of the logically some of the methods could probably better suited to say the player, like when it comes to resolving combat and things like that. So you could probably structure the code a little better. At the moment, you just got this huge, long game.js. Yeah. So perhaps there's that issue. The other one is, yeah, generally if you have a class with just a constructor, it doesn't add any value. It's only if you have a number of methods that that it makes it worthwhile to actually break it up into classes like that. I mean, the main thing is
Okay.
objects. Yeah. So that's my comment for the future. Something to think about when you're putting the code together. I'm not saying rewrite it. I'm just saying where it could be improved. The other thing is your list of variables. Some of them are actually constants rather than variables. A lot of your code is based on older JavaScript, whereas newer JavaScript, ES6, has constants where you can where they're where they're not going to change. Some things are variable, like knife and sword and gun, whatever. Others are constant. Like the grid X field is something that's constant for the life of the game, and the grid Y field, that sort of thing. So you might want to look in the future about what's a constant and what's not going to change during the program. Sure, you can change it, the constant. If you say, I want to now attempt a 100 by 100 grid, if you're that ambitious, as an example, then
Yeah,
but that wouldn't change through the life of the program when it's running. Okay, some of
that's
the
well understood.
yeah
Thanks for the correction and thanks for the update. Yeah.
yeah, but in general, it's a good implementation, and so I'll just send me an email when you've uploaded the changes, and I'm just going to stop the record.